Hello and welcome to Media Lit, where we treat each piece of media like great literature. I'm your host, Randy Elaine, and joining me as always is the one and only Kris Ingersoll. Kris Ingersoll, how you doing tonight, man?
So good, buddy. You have really done it again. I know we try to bury the lead and everything else, but folks, you know I treat Randy like the game's master. And he has managed to bring a board game to life for us tonight. I'm so excited for you all to listen in to this very special event that we've got planned.
Thank you for the kind words, Kris. But yeah, you're right. This is absolutely very, very on brand for me, so I appreciate it. But yeah, tonight we are here to celebrate Game of Thrones. We've got House of the Dragon Season 3 on the horizon. We are hot off the tails of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, a show that I absolutely fell in love with personally. And this is the most hyped I've felt for Game of Thrones in a very, very, very long time. I am so excited for this new season of television. And I knew we had to do a draft. And it started like any other media lit draft. We're going to find some cool characters. We're going to, talk about them. We're going to celebrate them. I thought about doing one of our traditional draft and pitch episodes. Uh, but then I realized we had never done a draft and battle for the Iron Throne. So that is what this became. So let me set the stage for you, our wonderful listeners. Imagine a Westeros in which the multiverse has been ripped open, and coming through the ether are your favorite characters from the Game of Thrones television canon. Yes, that's right. We are going to stick to the television canon and to the characters that have appeared on screen in one of the three Game of Thrones television series. That character does not have to have a ton of screen time. Maybe they only appeared once in a flashback. Maybe they've been in nearly every single episode of their respective show. We're going to see all types of characters pop up here today. But we have to imagine if these characters came together and they had to exists in a culmination of all these timelines across all these different moments in the history of Westeros, how would things play out? So I have been lucky enough to get 6 players to come in and take on the persona of one of the great houses of Westeros. So let's meet our contestants at this time. First up, you may remember Abby Greiner from our Dark Crystal episode. She was there at the genesis of our beloved nickname for our listeners, the Podlings. Abby is a dog trainer, a frustrated party planner, and a self-proclaimed giant nerd. Abby, you're representing House Targaryen tonight.
Hell yeah, I am.
Tell us why you picked House Targaryen. Tell us who's going to represent your house, and tell us what position they are going to have on your team.
So I chose House Targaryen. Short answer is I just love dragons. Watching Game of Thrones, I mean, I always kind of liked mythical creatures, but watching Game of Thrones bring them to life on the screen in such a spectacular way, I just kind of became obsessed. So, uh, do I agree with their politics and their ethics all the time? No, of course not. But, I mean, I can't say no to dragons, so that's why I chose House Targaryen.
Perfect, perfect. And who will lead your great house into the future?
So, for my contender for the throne, which is the role I sat them in, is,
Beautiful.
Baelor Breakspear Targaryen. Because of all the Targaryens we have met so far, I feel like he is the most fair, the most kind of even temperamentally. I
Mhm.
think he would make a fantastic leader of any realm, especially Westeros. He's most people who meet him love him, and that is definitely not something you can say about all Targaryens.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's a winner, and he's just a good person. So that's why I chose him to lead my house.
Yeah. Fantastic pick, Abby. Fell in love with this character via A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Thank you so much. Next up, we've got a media lit newbie, but not a newbie to podcasting. We've got Anna Stone, host of Stone's Top Tens, and she's here representing House Stark tonight. Anna, it's so great to have you here. Tell me a little bit about House Stark and tell me who's going to be leading your team.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited and a little bit nervous. As a self-proclaimed terrible decision maker, drafts are a struggle, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be totally fine. Um, I chose Host Stark because kind of going off of what Abby was saying, I tried to pick the house that like makes me feel the least icky
Mm,
inside about the decisions that they make. I also like I'm from the north, and I love the setting of Winterfell. The old gods just really speak to me, and I especially in those later seasons of Thrones when things kind of like went off the rails. Uh, the development of like Sansa and some of the other characters of this house really crushed it for me. So, um, I went with House Stark, and my leader is Jon Snow. He is my contender to the throne because I love a sad boy, and I also, again, like I feel like he makes really moral choices, and that's hard to find
mhm.
in Westeros. Um, and that's probably not going to work to my advantage, but you know what? Here we are. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I don't want it.
It's our new house words. It's no longer winter's coming. It'll be fine.
Well, luckily, Anna, you do want it, and I'm sure you will represent House Stark nobly. Thank you so much. Next up, another returning famous podling. This is none other than John Aspler. He is our resident Lost Doctor for our recurring Lost and Lit series, but that's not just a cute nickname. This guy has a PhD in neuroscience, and
Dr.
we are,
John.
yeah, man. We are so thrilled to have him here. It's been way, way, way too long. John Aspler, how are you doing? And how'd you end up with House Lannister?
So, some similar logic, and I'll get to that in a second. I wasn't sure how to bend my morality toward this game, but I figured that the Lannisters have a significant amount of money, which is a super helpful shortcut to influence, loyalty, and power, and that is the main
Mhm.
reason I chose them.
Beautiful pick as always. Now, who will be leading House Lannister in this multiversal version of Westeros?
This comes back a little bit to Abby and Anna's points. So, as
Mm.
head of house, I've chosen my George R. R. Martin and possibly your favorite character as well. This is Tyrion Lannister, whose mind is his weapon. Lannisters are generally ruthless, pragmatic, sometimes cruel, and Tyrion can and has been all of those things, but he's also the most empathetic member of House Lannister, possibly, maybe one of two or three. And this empathy that he brings to the table is something that comes directly from his lived experiences. He is both one of the most privileged men in all of Westeros and also someone who has experienced tremendous prejudice and stigma. And I think that what that means is that his experiences, his wealth, his privilege, his cleverness, all combined would make him the perfect power behind the throne. He is not my contender for the throne. He
Mhm.
is my hand of the king or queen. He will be, maybe not spinning the webs like the spider, but he will be doing the things to get the house in order.
Yeah. Perfect logic as always, John. Thank you so much for that. Next up, we have Everett Mansur representing House Baratheon. Everett is making his Media Lit debut. He is a journeyman podcaster who you can hear guesting all over the internet, but he's also a seasoned cinephile. You can follow him on Instagram at Watch This Film Blog, and I imagine later today we'll hear more about that. But Everett, how'd you land on House Baratheon, and who will be leading this great house into the future?
Yeah, so I was not sure going in, like, how I was supposed to rank these because, like, I think
Mhm.
all of us here, the various moralities of a lot of these houses is, questionable to say the least, and for a very long time, House Baratheon did not have, the most upstanding frontmen, and so the person that I chose to lead my house is kind of the reason that I chose this house. I chose Lionel Baratheon, um, to be my contender for the Iron Throne. I think he is the most tactful of the on-screen Baratheons that we've gotten, but he's also the one who actually kind of like lives up to the hype.
Mhm.
For the most part, I know Robert off-screen in the before times was really good at what he did, but by the time we get him, on TV in the worlds that we're living in, he's a little bit less so, but he's still got a role to play. Don't worry, he's on my lists.
Love it.
But
Love
no,
it.
and it's a fun house. I feel like this is a group of Westerosi who really do enjoy living life to the fullest, and who am I to say no to that? So I'm looking forward to drafting. Very happy to be here. Very grateful to be here. Looking forward to what the night holds.
Perfect. And we are thrilled to have you, Everett. Thank you so much for that perfect intro. I think we all know this next guy. He is the fellow host of Media Lit. This is Kris Ingersoll representing House Martell. Kris, talk to me, man.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have House Martell. A peek behind the curtain. They weren't my first choice. I would have preferred to represent the Starks this evening, but I'm grateful that Anna, a true person of the North,
Yeah.
has the Starks, and I am honestly honored to be able to represent House Martell. Fiercely independent, fiercely loyal to their people. The only house that gets to keep their princely title. This is a house that remains unconquered. And in that way, they've also been able to remain incredibly progressive. This is a house that is not here for the stuffy traditions of Westeros, and I am here for that.
Mm.
Thrilled to select as my head of house, Oberyn Martell, the Red Viper himself. He will not be my contender for the throne. He's a bisexual king is right, Anna. And he wants to live his very free life. He's not interested in the stuffy bureaucracy of the small council. So while he will serve a role when his house has the opportunity, he'll rise to that duty. He does not have an interest in sitting on the throne itself. And so my head of house, Oberyn Martell, will be my master of laws and coins because he is deeply passionate about changing the status quo. He wants to see things done differently in Westeros, and as Master of Laws, he'll be able to see those changes enforced and codified, as they say.
Perfect logic once again. Josh Sarnecky, actually, before we go to Josh Sarnecky, I've got to ask John Aspler if he thinks it's very quaint to hear us all calling ourselves Northerners from up there in Montreal.
I mean, to be totally honest, we're not that much farther north than you. I think it's a 5-6 hour drive to Boston or something like that. And we all live, like 90% of us, along that parallel. But yes, I did argue originally I was Norther and therefore ought to be the Starks, but I am delighted to be the Lannisters.
Deeply, deeply gracious of you. Sorry for that aside, folks. Let's move on to the wonderful Josh Sarnecky. You know him, you love him from the Pop Break and his many podcasts over there. On the Pop Break, you can find Josh on TV Break, The Anniversary Brothers, and Anime Pop, where Kris and I recently got to draft Pokemon with Josh and Amanda, and it was a total blast. I was so thrilled I got to be a part of that and share that with my boys. But we've also talked with Josh about Batman. We've talked to him about cartoons. And now, naturally, the next step is Game of Thrones. Josh Sarnecky, how are you doing tonight? Why did you pick House Tyrell? And who will lead this house into the future?
Well, first off, thank you for having me back. It is always a total blast to be here on Media Lit, so I'm thrilled to be back here again. And yeah, I will say I was very nervous heading into this draft, but one thing I was not nervous about was making this pick. I knew from the start that I wanted House Tyrell. Why? They may not be the most wealthy, they may not be the most powerful in the terms of their military strength, but House Tyrell knows how to play politics. And if we know one thing about the Game of Thrones, it's a game of politics. And so I wanted a political powerhouse as my house. And with that, I had to have the greatest of all political maneuvers in my court as my head of house. And that is, of course, Lady Olenna Tyrell as my head of house. She is the hand of the king or queen for my house. And I just have to say, in this world of dragons and dire wolves and Dothraki, no one's as badass as she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Diana Rigg at her best, just bringing that role to life. If I had been on the receiving end of this game, that would have been my number one pick for House as well, Josh Sarnecky. Uh, I'm not surprised. I'm very used to being in drafts with you, and I feel like we're constantly stealing picks from each other. So, love to hear you representing my personal favorite house that I think deserved a better deal in the series for sure. All right, well, those are all of our contestants. I promise not to bore you with every single rule of this draft, listeners, but there are a few things you should know. These drafters are going to be filling out a small council to go along with these heads of house that they just revealed to you. By the end of this draft, everyone is going to have a contender for the Iron Throne, a hand of the king or queen, a master of laws and coin, a master of whispers, a grand maester, or a mystic advisor. They will have a Lord Commander of the King's Guard or Queen's Guard. They will have a House Champion. And then in a couple of somewhat more limited categories, each house will get to draft their strongest ally. In the eligible houses, as determined by me, are House Aaron, House Frey, House Greyjoy, House Hightower, House Tully, and House Valerian. Each team is also going to draft some aid from Essos. Also selected by me, the Golden Company, the Iron Bank, the Second Sons, the Storm Crows, the Triarchy, or the Unsullied. There are some big names missing from the board, and we haven't talked about those wonderful winged dragons just yet. But I promise you there are plenty of surprises across the draft board, and some of the names that you think are missing may just be making an appearance before all is said and done. And before we start, you should know each house has been secretly granted both a special house power tied to their house and a special draft power tied to the unique head of house that they picked. Now, our contestants will be allowed to communicate secretly with one another throughout this draft, but they are not allowed to share the specific details of their special house abilities. Those need to remain secret. The exception to this is if you have a power that you have an opportunity to exercise within the game, and you've now used that ability, you are welcome to then articulate what that ability was in the past tense. Some of these abilities might be very obvious public things that are happening that I will announce for you. Some of these might be slightly more secretive. Some of them might involve a little wink and a nod from the host here to try to help you connect the dots. But you could choose to share some of that information privately as well. All right. I think that's it. I think it's time for us to finally jump into this draft. At this time, I'm going to ask all of our contestants to cease their communications so we can really pay attention to the stories that all of our contestants are weaving. Because at the end of this process, we are going to try to figure out where we believe power resides in Westeros, and we are going to go through a process to crown a winner. And if all goes well, the winner will be someone who told the best story about these characters. Kicking us off in the draft tonight is going to be Abby Greiner with House Targaryen. House Targaryen, you are on the clock, and where are you going with the first overall pick?
Okay. First pick is a huge gift, but also a huge responsibility. I've agonized over this choice and only today made my final decision. This person who I'm going to draft has a history of bringing disparate groups together under one banner. I think she would be a very good negotiator with the other houses. And no small thing, she's bringing 3 dragons along with her. So I am drafting as my hand of the king, Daenerys Targaryen, who also happens to be named after Baelor's aunt. So welcome to the family, Daenerys.
Wow. Abby, that's a huge power move. As House Targaryen, your house ability already started you with 3 dragons because you had access to the dragon seeds going into this process. So already on your draft board, you had Vermithor, Silverwing, and Sea Smoke. And we are now adding Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion to that host of dragons. There's no guarantee that you can maintain dragon superiority, but I think you put together the strongest possible start to that end. All right.
Thank you. I also think Daenerys would do well in the warm embrace of her family, which she didn't have in the show. So
Yeah, certainly a better role model in Baelor for sure. All right. Moving on to our next pick. This is Anna Stone with House Stark.
Okay. I want to secure one of the smaller categories first, because it's going to play into the rest of my strategies. So, for my strongest ally, I am picking House Valerian for a couple of
Nice.
reasons. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh man. Okay. Actually, no, I'm not. I am
Oh no.
determined.
Okay.
Okay, I really like House Valerian for a couple reasons. Um, they have dragons, which definitely helps. Also, I just think there are some really good characters within House Valerian that I'm hoping to maybe get on my side, or at least get some of those dragons on my side. I think that they can, while the North has their ways, they can benefit from some of these Southern allies. So, we also have like the area by the sea that kind of goes with House Valerian as well. So there's some sea route action there. So I am picking House Valerian as my strongest ally.
I'd like to take a moment to just briefly interrupt and say that I'm so sorry. Just yesterday, I secured their allegiance with a significant amount of money, and House Valerian is actually my greatest ally.
Are we allowed to flip people off on this podcast? Is that a thing?
Absolutely. Please, please, please do.
And I'll just
Oh.
briefly say all the reasons that you said. I want sea supremacy. I want dragons, and Valerian is where we get that.
Bro, you just blew up my draft first round. I didn't know that was a thing we could do.
So,
That's fine.
while Anna recovers from this moment, yeah, we've just experienced our very first house power in this game. The deep pockets of the Lannister family have allowed them to secure an alliance that they wanted very, very badly. That is bad news for you, Anna. At the very least, though, you do get a new pick up on the board. You get a fresh pick right now, and the Lannisters will forfeit their upcoming pick, so they won't get to pick again until we roll back around to them.
I had a plan. I had a decision made, and now the decisions are gone. I know what I'm doing. Okay, for my Master of Coin and Laws, I want Lyanna Mormont because I think she's a badass. And even though she is young, she is persuasive, she is charismatic, and she gets the people on her side very much in the way that Jon does, very much in the way that Robb does. She has that northern appeal to her own people, and it kind of spreads. Like when you watch her, you really just want to follow her too. I think she is wise for her age, and that will just continue to grow. And I also like that grown men listen to her.
Mhm.
And I think that says a lot, especially on Bear Island, and which is in a body of water. So yeah, I just got some water access via Lyanna Mormont as well. So it's not quite the Valyrians, but I will take her because she's amazing. So
Such a
Lyanna
great
Mormont,
pick.
Yeah.
politician.
Love Lyanna Mormont, one of my favorite characters in the show. She might be top 10.
Same.
Wonderful pick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a phenomenal pick. Now, typically we'd be moving on to House Lannister next, but they've already thrown some of their weight around, so we won't see them until we come back around. So that puts House Baratheon on the clock with the next pick.
Yeah. So fortunately enough, my first pick is still on the board. So love that. It's not flashy. It's not big names or anything, but we don't got no money in the South, as it turns out. And so I'm going to select my aid from Essos and take the Iron Bank of Bravos
Okay.
to finance the rest of this campaign. Other people have their own money. I'm taking foreign money, but is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the only way to get the funds you need to run Westeros, based on what I saw on the show. So it's
Yeah,
hard to argue with that pick.
even the Lannisters by the end were trying to get loans from the Iron Bank. And so if I'm running the Iron Bank, am I richer than the Lannisters now? Who's to say?
Can you repay that debt is the real question, right? No, phenomenal pick. All right, let's go even a little further south on the continent of Westeros, and let's hear from House Martell with the next pick.
Mhm. I actually quite disappointed to have missed House Valerian.
Mm.
However, grateful that they weren't pulled out from underneath me right after thinking I had secured them. So I'm actually going to be grateful that I missed that. And also, I feel free now to look elsewhere. I felt a lot of pressure, given the narrowness of House Martell, to secure my strongest ally early. That felt like an important pick for me. Now, less so, because it's such a delta between that top pick and my other options. I'm going to turn to my contender for the throne.
Nice.
Daenerys is a legacy, after all. She hails from a long line of Targaryens, and she's not the first female contender for the Iron Throne. My contender for the Iron Throne will be Rhaenyra Targaryen. You see, Oberyn Martell feels very strongly about lineage. She is the firstborn. She is the true heir to the throne.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal pick, Chris. And I have some further good news to you. You've unlocked our first special character ability. So not only do you get Rhaenyra Targaryen, but you get to enter the dragon game. Not only do you get her dragon, Syrax, but you also get Lucerys and his guy, Arax.
I get him and his dragon?
You sure do, buddy.
I'm going to go cry. Thank you.
I could not be happier for you. But yeah, so I don't think you've quite matched the dragon power on that's coming from House Targaryen, but hey, you've taken a step in the right direction. All right. House Tyrell, where are we headed?
Ooh, so I was also heartbroken that House Valerian was taken. I was really banking on that, but I should have known that that would not make it all the way to the sixth pick. And also, Chris, you gave me a heart attack because I thought for sure you're going to go with my pick for contender of the throne because I respect Rhaenyra. I feel like she's a very strong leader. I feel like she has a lot of charisma. But if we're going to the original lady who, was bringing the badass energy to the potential Iron Throne, and, she barely missed out on it just because of, sexism. I need to go with the true queen, the queen who never was, but for me, she will be. Give me Rhaenys Valerian. I want her and Elena together. I mean, just think of that. That's an incredible pairing. The two of them together, endgame.
Yes. You also get Meleese, so you've entered the dragon game as well. So that's phenomenal. Now, Josh, how's this going to play out? We've got the loyalties of House Valerian are elsewhere with the Lannisters. So what's caused Rhaenys to break off, splinter off on her own, and join this other house?
Well, if we know one thing, it's that she's not always happy with Corliss's decisions. So I'm just going to say Corlys made a few too many bad choices, and she decided, you know what? I need to go to someone who actually knows how to play this game, and that is the Tyrells.
Beautiful pick. Okay, folks, it's time to move on to round 2 of the draft. And House Tyrell, this is a snake draft, so you are back on the board.
Okay, so back on the board, and yeah, this is not going quite how I imagined, but that works out because I still have one of my top picks for another category that honestly, I think there's a huge drop off after this one character, so I have to take her now before she's gone. So in the Grand Maester or Mystic Advisor category, please give me Melisandre, the Red Lady. I want some of that dark, dark magic there because you know what? We don't know if winter's coming, but in case it does, I want someone who can help defeat the White Walkers. And if something were to happen to one of my players, I would rest assured knowing that she may be able to revive them. So, and if she wants to assassinate someone, she can do her weird shadow baby thing. So for all these reasons, I need to have her as my mystic advisor. And I also think that she would just do fantastic with the two ladies I already have on my team.
Yeah, we've been waiting for the women to take power in Westeros, and House Tyrell's going for it. I respect that game. Beautiful stuff. All right, that brings us back to House Martell.
Okay, this is the best part of the snake draft. It's sad when you wait very many picks between your picks. This was a quick one. And with this very quick pick, I'm going to secure another Targaryen for my board.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You have to understand, the Martells and Dorne have a long history with the Targaryens. It's the original political alliance, right, in the kingdom. And so I think it only makes sense for my Oberyn to continue to foster these kinds of relationships. And this man is dangerous on his own. But when he is deferent to his wife / niece, Daemon Targaryen is one of the fiercest fighters in the entire kingdom. He's also somebody who inspires the men around him. He's somebody who is loyal to a fault. He will die for his honor. And so he will be my Lord Commander of the King's Guard.
I certainly hope he can run a slightly tighter ship than we saw from him in House of the Dragon. But yeah, I think you're...
Gold Cloaks, he's learned a lot. He's been
Yeah.
through things. He's run into to Alice Rivers. He has matured.
Beautiful. Kris, you've somehow managed to unlock yet another powerful unlock here in this game. In addition to Daemon and Caraxes, you also get Bela and Moondancer.
I very much hoped I would. Thank you.
His beloved daughter. Sadly, he wasn't so great to his other daughter, but he's got that daughter, he's got that dragon by his side. And suddenly you are maybe within striking distance of those 6 dragons over on the Targaryen side. So things just got interesting. All right, we are moving on back to House Baratheon.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could go here in the draft, but I'm going to go to one of my less deep categories. It's not the shallowest, but it's one where I feel like the top is the top, and it's been the top for a reason. And I think Lionel would recognize that, and I recognize that, and it's prioritizing the realm over everything else. And I'm going with my Master of Whispers, the one who does everything for the good of the realm. Varys the Spider.
Yeah, incredible pick. For those of us who learned about Game of Thrones through the television show, this is the character who showed us what a Master of Whispers was and what they could be. We saw him adapt so much over that series. And yeah, no shock to know that he went first in this category.
Yeah, gotta be one off the board. Love it.
I just want to say I'm absolutely loving all these teams as they come together. These are looking beautiful. All right, House Lannister, we're going to try to draft through some more conventional means, but the pick is yours.
Excellent. Thank you. So I am also, again, possibly going to bother House Stark just a little bit, depending on their plans. I want to, with Melisandre no longer on the board, I want to dive into my Grand Maester / Mystic Advisor, which is Bran the Broken. Bran is, of course, a character who is possibly the most powerful mage, the most powerful person who can see things, not a dragon, but can potentially warg into dragons. I don't know. We'll see. And I think Bran and Tyrion have a lot in common. They have a bond that formed in Winterfell after Bran was pushed out the window. And I think he would be a really fantastic Grand Maester / Mystic Advisor.
Yeah, if there were ever a way to convince me that a Stark could join House Lannister, this might be one of the few connections that makes a little bit of sense. So, yeah, they do have that bond. Bastards and broken things. Love that connection. All right. We are back to House Stark. I hope there will be fewer fireworks for you this time.
Hey, a girl can dream. I am going to go with. I had this planned and now I just lost it. Oh, yeah, I'm going with my champion. I am going to pick someone who allies herself with the Starks eventually. She is fierce. She is brave. She has a really weird relationship with a Lannister that could possibly fall into place and be helpful. But I am going with the Brienne of Tarth.
Yes.
She, again, one of those characters that, like, her morality stands out in this world of moral depravity. And listen, even if my team falls apart thanks to the Lannisters, uh we're going to be moral over here. We're going to be doing our best to be good people, and well, maybe, like, bashing some heads with Brienne.
Mhm.
So, she's not afraid to do the tough thing if she knows it's right. And I think she'll be a fantastic addition to my team.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah. Someone I'd be really bummed if they didn't go in the first 2 rounds. So love to see Brienne on the board. All right. We are back to House Targaryen to wrap up round 2.
Well, my house is quite fractured at this point, but, I couldn't expect to have all the dragons on my team. So for my next pick in the category of champion/hero, although you could easily argue that he is neither, I'm gonna go with Aemon Targaryen, who
Mhm.
rides the biggest dragon living, Vhagar. I wanna secure him on my team. Um, Even though his, loyalty is questionable, I think he is loyal to his family, and I think that, Baelor is not someone who could be taken advantage very easily, so I think that he will see through Aemon's machinations and keep him on the straight and narrow, and, he certainly can deliver a heavy blow. Aemon can when necessary, so I think he will do well in my fighter role.
Hard to love him, but you can't deny the skill or the power. It's there. So powerful pick, especially with so many people coming for your dragons. Acquiring Vhagar, the ultimate dragon, perhaps, is a huge power move, a huge statement. Absolutely love that. All right, folks, it's time to move on to round 3. We've got House Targaryen back on the board. Take it away with your next pick.
Alright, so one thing that everybody in Westeros knows about House Targaryen is that they like to keep it in the family. So for my next pick, under Grandmaster/Mystical Advisor, I am going with my favorite bug girl, Helena Targaryen.
Yes.
She was very high on my list of Mystic. Very, very high.
I love that
Damn.
weirdo.
Yeah,
She's
great
great.
pick.
Mm-hmm. Now, Abby, I think we all agree this is a great pick, but what would you say to the folks out there who don't understand Helena's powers, who don't realize that she has something so valuable to offer?
I think the key to really getting value out of Helena's powers and understanding them is just listening to her.
Mm.
She's kind of quirky, she's into bugs. She doesn't talk a lot, but when she does, it's really important to listen, and I think Baelor is an excellent listener. He values everybody's opinion, whether you are from a noble house or not. So I think he will value Helena and listen to her and give her a nurturing environment where she can start to understand her own visions as well and communicate them. So that is what I'm banking on. I mean, certainly in House of the Dragon, she did not exactly grow up in a nurturing environment.
Hmm.
And I also know that her brother Aemon will protect her at all costs. So I think there's going to be a really nice synergy there.
Yeah, I really love this, Abby, because I feel like you're even building a potential redemption arc for Daenerys. Because I especially
Yeah.
think with this guidance, I think she might be very curious to listen to another powerful Targaryen, someone who possesses some magic that not everyone believes in or understands. So yeah, really cool team. Love this. All right, moving on to House Stark.
Okay. I am gonna try picking my strongest ally again.
Mhm.
North remembers, John. Uh, I am gonna go with House Hightower as our ally because there is a dragon connection there through Alicent and her children, and also um, they are not the most moral, but I do feel like of my options, they might be the best choice. Um, they bring in some of that Southern power too. They've got some great minds. I just think that it could be an unlikely powerful alliance.
Mm.
Is anyone stealing this from me?
Think you're safe.
Oh,
It would seem
woohoo!
to be that you are safe. I hope that remains the case. Yeah, House Hightower. Another house. They've got that connection to Old Town. Through their vassals, they've got access to quite a strong fleet. So yeah, this could be a really powerful pick for you. I love this. All right, we are moving on to House Lannister.
I feel like it's gone on long enough that I haven't actually chosen my contender for the throne. So while I don't think that this character was actually much in contention, for very specific story and thematic reasons, I am going to go with Jaime Lannister as my contender for the throne. Tyrion, power behind the throne. Jaime, power brothers working together as they always wanted, as they always dreamed. Um, I should maybe be a bit more specific and say that while the Tyrion that I have in mind is a season 2 to 4 Tyrion, the Tyrion who won the Battle of the Blackwater, and not the Tyrion that lost
Mhm.
every other battle in season 6 to 8. This is an end of series Jaime. This is a wise Jaime, a Jaime who may
Mhm.
not have his hand, and so may not be a champion or champion of the Kingsguard, for example, but is wise, is kind, but also clever. He did beat Tyrion that one time when he also beat Olenna Tyrell. So, yeah, we're going to go with Jaime as my contender.
Lovely pick. All right, moving on to House Baratheon with the next pick.
Yeah. So I'm going maybe off the board for some people, but I I need a politician and I need someone who I trust to be a good politician, and I'm going to take someone who learned under the best and then bested the best.
Hmm.
Who this might upset some people. A couple picks earlier, but I am going to take Sansa Stark. Obviously, we're talking time periods. This is Endgame Sansa when she very much was in contention for everything there at the
No,
end.
Everett,
Um,
this is a very wonderful pick. Unfortunately, we're getting some reports from your folks in the field. It seems that Sansa was recently seen meeting with Tyrion Lannister, the Imp.
uh-oh.
Um, and it seems like he's managed to sow some doubts about House Baratheon in her mind. So she's on the board later. You can try this again. You might be able to
Heard,
convince her,
heard.
but she's going to need a bit more convincing. So you're going to have to go with a different pick this round.
But of course, then I'll go ahead and take an ally house, which again, I don't have a lot of people in my cabinet yet, but that's okay. I've got the people who matter. I'm going to take my ally house, and that ally house is going to be House Greyjoy. We are the rebels. We are the fighters. We are the ones who forge our own destinies. Obviously, some of us are better at rebellion than others, but when we join together, it's going to be really hard to say that you can beat us in a rebellion. And so maybe don't even try to rule us because we'll just overthrow you later.
Just don't forget about the Iron Fleet, Everett. It's my only
Please,
advice to
for the
you.
love. Um, Somehow Daenerys forgot about the Iron Fleet. I don't know. That was
uh,
oh guys.
what a
I hate
what
that we
a
all know that.
what a world to live in. We are moving on to House Martell with the next pick.
Well, I was going to get my strongest ally, and it was going to be House Greyjoy. And now that they're not on the board, I can wait. I can wait. I don't need a strongest ally right now. But what do I need if not that? Could use a hand. Yes, I'm going to take my hand of the king or queen, in this case, hopefully hand of the queen, and hopefully we get these two another chance. A chance to clear the men out of their way, a chance to make things right
Yes.
in Westeros with the support of a progressive
yes.
house like Martell. So give me Alicent Hightower as my hand of the queen.
Beautiful.
I believe in those two crazy kids.
Now, is this also our older, wiser Alicent who goes back to make a plea to her good friend?
This is an Alicent who really prefers a long bath. But as she sees things turning in a way that she can have a positive influence, she will return to the small council chamber only for her best friend.
Love that. That's an absolutely perfect pick. All right. That brings us back to House Tyrell.
All right. So at this point, I've got a lot of strong women leading my effort here, and I'm feeling very good about that. But I will say, I still haven't gotten too much of the military force behind my house yet. And if I'm being honest, I think I need to maybe go across the sea to get some help.
Mm.
And if I was to do that, I would go for what I think is the strongest of the military options over there, and that is the Golden Company. I think that's I may not have as much wealth as the Lannisters, but House Tyrell still has a pretty good piggy bank to break open, and I think we want that true, dedicated, powerful force to really defend the Reach and make sure that we have prosperity and can defend us from the um, houses that surround us and may not
Mhm.
have our best intentions in mind.
Beautiful. We've got girl power, but we've got military power as well. This is perfect. Before we wrap up this round, I just want to say, in my excitement to defend the honor of Helena, I forgot to announce the very important detail that House Targaryen has acquired yet another dragon in Dreamfire. So just had to put that up on the board. It is on the live draft board, but I apologize for not celebrating Dreamfire in that moment. But yeah, we've got a pretty big host of dragons over here. Dragon math is starting to come at a premium. We'll see how this plays out, though. All right, we are back for round 4 of the draft, and we've got House Tyrell back on the clock.
All right. So honestly, I'm not sure where I want to go from here. I feel like I got a lot of the picks I wanted to, so I'm happy with that. The one pick I'm still cross about is that I didn't get my strongest ally, and it is quickly thinning the options there. So, looking at what's available, I do want to go for a house that I think geographically works well with mine. I feel like this house can help us really split Westeros in half and can separate any potential alliances on the east and west of the
Mm.
continent. And I've also seen that this house has a um, strong women in its house that know how to take charge and lead political action. And so I'm going to go with House Tully for my strongest ally.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I feel like geographically, in terms of the kind of political force they're able to show there in the Riverlands, that's the kind of energy I need on my team. And I think that Rhaenys and Lady Olenna would both welcome that.
Beautiful stuff. All right, we are moving on to House Martell, and House Martell. There's an incredibly horrific report coming in through your ravens.
Tell me.
I'm sad to report uh, that while out on patrol surveying her future kingdom, Rhaenyra
Hmm.
Targaryen and
Hmm.
Syrax were set upon by Aemon Targaryen in an act of unprecedented and unprovoked aggression. This is a tragic time for your house. I don't know if you'll be prepared to move on for a new contender for the throne yet.
Hmm.
The only solace I can grant you at this time is that you have 2 picks at your disposal right now. Uh, you do not have to use either of those picks to replace your contender. You can wait, but you may want to have someone rise up the ranks. I should also add, this is our first character to be killed off. So if you need to reshuffle your team, you are allowed to move folks around into different positions if it helps position you better for the future.
Not certain this was wise, House Targaryen. Vengeance is well known to the House of Martell. Yeah, unfortunately, Oberyn is going to have to step up. He didn't want the responsibility, but Oberyn is going to step up to be my contender for the Iron Throne, which vacates my Master of Laws and Coins, a category I didn't even consider picking from because previously it was preset for me, so I'm not going to refill that role right now. I still have Daemon Targaryen, and I still want a certain version of Daemon Targaryen, and so to get that version of Daemon, I also need my Mystic or Maester to be Alice Rivers. So please give
Beautiful.
me Alice Rivers so she can come haunt Daemon, get him to be his best self. Thank you very much.
And it's just like, I feel your pain, man.
Yep. Well, that was something a game mechanic did. This was something a person chose, and I will remember. I will remember, Abby. My second pick. I'm going to take my most valuable, my strongest ally here. I think before they're gone, I will secure House Aaron. I want the Vale. Strategically, geographically, it's extremely important. Coming out of Dorne, the more ground that I can catch, the better. I would have preferred a sea-bound ally, but I will take the Vale.
All right. Absolutely beautiful pick. I hope that your house can take the time it needs to mourn what was a really great play for the throne. But for now, we move on to House Baratheon.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back and try again to really pitch this recruit Varys in particular to kind of pitch Sansa on House Baratheon, show her the fact that House Stark has passed her over for this same position for someone far younger than her, far less experienced in the grand world of Westeros. And that they've even chosen a slightly illegitimate son of the house, who obviously we know is legitimate, but is maybe also a Targaryen. So like that's kind of a plant. I mean, look, we are the ones who are going to stand up to the establishment, and I am going to once again try to take Sansa Stark as my master of laws and coin, my politician. Like we saw her outmaneuver Peter Baelish, and I don't know that anyone quite played politics like he did, but he was blinded by her ability to play politics. And so I think if you beat the best, you become the best.
I know Sansa was reluctant to join with you. Tyrion had been whispering in her ear. But Sansa, as we've established, she is a mover and an operator in this world. She has done her homework. Although she does have a lot of love for Tyrion, she's heard about how Team Lannister has been doing business out there in the world in this fight for the throne. I think she respects the addition of House Greyjoy to your house. She has some connections there as well. And there is a strong history between House Baratheon and House Stark, and she is ready to commit herself to your cause. So you have acquired Sansa as your master of laws and coin.
Perfect. Hype for it. Let's go.
We are now moving on to House Lannister with the next pick.
All right, so although Sansa sadly has already gone to House Baratheon, I am instead going to pick my Master of Coin / Laws. I think this is the character that makes the most sense based on my alliance. I think it's the character that makes the most sense based on values and money, and I am going with Corlys Velaryon.
Yeah, Corlys is all about legacy. He's all about family. If his house is going to be attached to this fight for the throne, he is going to be a player and a power broker in that fight. So that makes perfect sense. I love that. All right, moving on to House Stark.
Okay, I am going to pick my Hand of the King, and it's going to feel out of left field right now, but in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna make sense. Okay. So I'm gonna go with Jorah Mormont. Now, I know that there's some tension between Jorah and the Starks due to his exile and dealings with slavery. But I think that the relationship that John forms with his father, the fact that they have this in common, I think that Jorah is going to see the fraying of Dany's mind and morality, and he's gonna get a little checked out and look
Mhm.
for a more upstanding contender to the throne who is not illegitimate because he is also a Targaryen and a Stark. I just wanna throw that in there. Um, wanted to defend that earlier, but I'm gonna go with Jorah Mormont. I think he gives excellent advice. I think he's gonna get thrown off by some of Dany's later choices, and I think that he is going to ally himself with the Starks in the North. I think he would gladly mentor Jon.
Hand of the King, Jorah Mormont. I absolutely love it. And I love to see that Mormont name making its way into the live draft board. Phenomenal stuff. All right, House Targaryen, you've made at least one enemy this round. So where will that take your draft?
Okay. Let's see. I think since it is a small category and shrinking with each round, I'm going to choose my aide from Essos next,
Mm.
and I'm going to go with the Unsullied.
Now, think I have a sense of where you're going here, but what makes the Unsullied a great pick for this team?
First of all, they have a very strong allegiance to my hand.
Mm.
They would basically, do anything for her. And Baelor will treat them just as well. They are a very formidable army. They're highly skilled, highly trained, and I think they would serve House Targaryen faithfully.
Beautiful. All right, folks, it is time to kick off round 5. And unfortunately, it seems that this Game of Thrones has gotten quite nasty because at a banquet in the Great Hall, Dany was enjoying a meal with this newfound family that was helping her find her way. Unfortunately, somebody poisoned her food and she did not survive the banquet. Daenerys Targaryen has been killed. And what makes things even worse is that her dragons are destitute. They've taken off to the hills. It's possible they will return, but at least for the moment, we cannot count on Dany's dragons. The loss is too painful. I know this is a huge hit to your team. We were really moving forward in a positive way. I don't know how your family will mourn, but much like I said to the Martells, if you need to shuffle your board around, you're allowed to do so following a death, and then you're going to get 2 picks.
How do Targaryens mourn? They mourn through vengeance. Randy, that's how they mourn. I'm going to go for Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Speaking of taking things in a positive direction, this person is beloved. He is has a huge heart. His heart is almost as big as the rest of him. I'm going with Sir Duncan the Tall.
Yes.
Canonically, 100% loyal to Baelor.
Mm-hmm.
There is a great love between them, and they will work very well together. And he will add some morality to my team. Some, he's a very upstanding person, very fair. Values all life, and actually, it would be really interesting to see if he could have any influence at all on Aemond. But I think he would be definitely a valuable addition to my team.
I love the branding here from Mother of Dragons to the former Hedge Knight. It's a really beautiful sentiment.
Mother of Dragons, she will be missed. For Master of Whispers, I'm going to go for someone from outside of Westeros who has extremely important skills. I'm going to choose Jaqen H'ghar.
All right, Jag and Hagar. What brought you to travel across the seas to find this person?
He actually found us. He travels a lot himself too. He got in a spot of trouble and needed some help, and so
Mm-hmm.
Baylor kind of bailed him out of a really tough situation and earned his loyalty. So, he is on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's not necessarily a team player. He, you know, he serves one god,
Yep.
and, well, the god of many faces, I should say. Um, but he does so with such expert skill
Yeah.
that, he owes Baylor a lot, and so he's willing to help him out.
All right. After yet another tragedy, we are moving on to House Stark.
There's another tragedy? Or are we good?
No, we're good for the moment, but things do change quickly
Okay.
in the Game of Thrones.
Okay, moment of panic. I'm good. I'm gonna stay with Master of Whispers. And I am going to go with Marjorie Tyrell.
Oh,
I
nice.
think that Marge played a great game, and her only mistake really was not realizing what was going on at the Sept of Baelor soon enough. She is incredibly intelligent. She knows how to work with the information that she has. She comes from a wonderful house, and I think that she could perchance have some romantic entanglements. She has a chance for the queen yet with my contender, in my opinion. Um, I just think that she played the game very well. She was put in a lot of really precarious situations, and she found a way to handle them without losing herself and what she wanted. So,
Mm-hmm.
also great wardrobe. So,
Yeah,
Marjorie Tyrell.
it's hard to contend with that. I do love her aspirations for the throne, might be part of that draw to House Stark, but we do have a lot of stuffy Northerners, and she also has the Queen of Thorns, who may not be so happy to see her on this team. How's she going to smooth all that over? What do you think?
Well, there may have been some discussions with the Tyrell family, with the illustrious Lady of Thorns herself, regarding this. I also think that even though Sansa is not on my team, that bond that they formed, that very careful bond
Hmm.
that they formed over like a mutual hatred and fear of Joffrey while also having to like pretend otherwise,
Mhm.
puts her in good favor with the Starks and puts the Starks in a good favor with her too. Her real interactions were with Sansa and then with Kat.
Mhm.
Um, and I think she had fairly positive interactions with both of them. So I think that's going to make her figure out a way to keep a low cut dress with a fur cape.
No, I love this. Plus, that Queen of Thorns, she's playing three-dimensional chess, right? She's championing Rhaenys for the throne, so why not have Marjorie out building some other alliances? Yeah, I love it. Great logic. All right, we are moving on to House Lannister.
All right. I think that the various people that I've recruited so far are various degrees of noble-ish. I think I need to dig a little bit deeper into the muck, and therefore my Master of Whispers is going to be Laris Strong. I think that Laris would have a lot in common with Tyrion, with Bran. I don't mean to be building a team specifically focused on disability or difference and stigma. But given the way that Laris, at least in season 2, starts to react to Aegon and starts to potentially support Aegon, I think that Laris and Tyrion might get along quite well. And also, he could be paid to do a lot of terrible things.
I'm just checking the board to see where he's going to get his feet fetish taken care of. That's pretty essential to your argument here, John.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Uh
Well, yeah, it's really important. That's a good. Well, I mean, House Martell, House Martell, Allison's hanging out there. We could be friends. That could work out.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. Maybe Bran can look into the past, present, and future and find that answer for us. We'll find out. Only time will tell. All right, great pick, House Lannister. We are moving on to House Baratheon.
Yeah, so I am going to shore up an alliance here and also reinforce some of Lionel's own, I guess, firmly held beliefs. I'm going to draft a champion because I know, and you know, and everyone except, the Targaryens and apparently also the Martells and Tyrells know that the only good dragon is a dead dragon, and I'm going to draft someone who knows how to kill and control the dragons. As my champion, I am going to draft Euron Greyjoy, one of the only non dragon riders we've seen actually kill a dragon. So who's not a White
Yeah.
Walker, of course.
We've got the ships and someone who's been proven in their ability to command that fleet. So yeah, it makes it all the more intimidating.
There's a whole lot that he checks for me there. He can go back and forth. He's spent some time in Essos, so he knows a little bit about the bank. He spent some time in other places.
Mm-hmm.
Will everyone else treat him with disdain, though? Will everyone else within your small council house keep him sort of at arm's length, I assume?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But that's why I also need him, because I do think he can kind of bring some of that erratic energy that Lionel does value in a way that I think some of the other nobles don't. And I think Lionel's leadership is going to help kind of gel this group of politicians and eccentrics into something that is a formidable force.
Yeah, very great pick. I just want folks listening at home to know that House Lannister has followed up on the question of the foot fetish, and they've said that Jaime Lannister has got plenty of feet. Thankfully, Larys does not have a hand fetish. So there you have it, folks. Awkward silence. All right, moving on to our next drafter. This is House Martell. House Martell, how are you doing after the tragedy that you suffered last round?
Hey, unbent and unbroken, buddy. We're not too worried about it. We just keep things moving. And in this case, we're going to keep it moving by selecting our aide from Essos. Dorne has wonderful military might. Not a huge ground game, though, in terms of numbers. And so this aide from Essos is super important. Fortunately, my head of house and contender for the throne is very well traveled. He decided to get out a little bit in his rebellious youth, and he spent some time riding with the Second Sons. And so they will be thrilled to throw back in with House Martell and join me in this quest for the throne.
Beautiful pick, a clear connection, and yeah, if anyone's going to get the best out of this crew, I think it's going to be Oberyn Martell. All right, we are moving on to House Tyrell to wrap up round 5.
All right, so I need a Master of Whispers, and I originally was thinking Jockingar, but he is sadly already working with another house. So I want someone with a similar skill set who also has a very strong moral compass, but is not above getting revenge when it is needed. And so I would like to take Arya Stark as my Master of Whispers. Give me her stealth, give me her backstabbing, literally, and all of the other nonsense that she gets into.
Yeah, I love this. I'm looking at your team, Josh. I do think I see a path here and an argument to be made. And we know that Arya has gone off to kind of follow her own path forward, but how is she going to reckon with turning her back on House Stark?
Well, I think she's going to realize that House Stark has made some questionable decisions. They have decided to already pair themselves with the Tyrells. So if she's already seeing her family align with them, maybe there is some alliance in the works, perhaps.
Absolutely. And I feel like she would be absolutely obsessed with Rhaenys Valerion.
Oh, yeah,
And the
goals.
story she has to tell about dragon riding. So yeah, she definitely fits the vibe of your team. And that brings us to the end of round 5.
You guys, this draft is turning out to be almost as brutal as the actual show.
That was the
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
And with that, we are on to round 6 of this Game of Thrones draft. Things are getting heated. The summer heat has made its way in, so I'm also literally getting quite hot over here in my podcasting room right now. It's appropriate for this moment in time. But House Tyrell, where are you headed next?
Okay, so I'm starting to again lose the plot a little bit, but I think I found it. So I have a very strong alliance with House Tully, and
Mhm.
I have Arya Stark as my Master Whispers. I feel like I need to shore up that alliance even stronger. And so I need someone who knows how to play the game. She's learned from some of the best. She's seen the nobility of her husband, Ned, and she's seen the machinations of her young friend, Littlefinger. And she cares deeply about her family. And so, who better to look after her daughter when she's doing maybe some questionable things than Catelyn Stark as my master of coin and laws? I feel like she is fair. She is a true family oriented person,
Mhm.
and she is going to do what is best for her house and for her allies. So, I want her there. I feel like she will help rein in some of the more vicious impulses of some of the people
Yeah.
on my team.
Yeah, I can't deny that I would love to see this team rule Westeros. This is quite a collection of awesome characters. All right, House Martell, we're going to continue your rebuild. Where to next?
We are rebuilding. And in that way, as you can see, my team is coming together from some like disparate pieces of the kingdom, folks who maybe have broken away from the groups they're more traditionally associated with, and they found this new family because they're united by purpose, and that purpose is a change in this world. And with that in mind, Oberyn, being as well traveled as he is, has in the past encountered this person who perhaps today is a little bit less accessible, but once lived on our side of the wall.
Mm.
Before they were a member of the Night's Watch, they went places. And so Oberyn confidently sends an emissary far north to treat with the king beyond the wall. And Mansur will sign on as my master of laws and coin.
Oh, wow. I love this global view.
We need the reach if we stand a chance in this game.
All right, Mance Raider. Beautiful stuff. We are now back to House Baratheon.
All right. I have 3 positions still open, you know. I'm going to save one for later because I feel all right about it. But I've got to continue with what I'm going to uh, lovingly coin the party scrappers that is my house and council by adding to it a maester mystic character that is a notorious partier, but also has some crazy powers when they work. And when they don't, they still got a flaming sword. I am, of course, talking about Thoros of Myr, slotting into that position for me. I think he fits really well with the vibe of the council. And, we're not necessarily the most um, long-lived group on the board, and so being able to be brought back because we're chosen by the Lord of Light uh could be really useful down the road.
Yeah, beautiful pick. I absolutely love this. Thoros of Myr.
Resurrection, casual power, resurrection. No big
Yeah,
deal.
Casual
just a casual
resurrection,
little power.
just
He doesn't quite
no big,
understand it, but it seems to work again and again.
but he's got it. He's got it.
Yeah, he's like the Energizer Bunny of resurrection. I love it.
Keeps going and go.
But moving on from Thoros of Myr, we are back to House Lannister.
So I promise this is really not how I planned to build this team out. I had a completely different vision, but I think that I need to go in this direction. I'm going to be clear about why. All I have left are Lord Commander of the Kingsguard and the House Champion.
Mm-hmm.
In those categories, some of the strongest and most available characters hate Jaime or would hate Jaime because he is a Kingslayer. So my options narrow. And as I looked at the strongest champions left, I realized that I think that might be Sandor the Hound Clegane. And there are reasons why the Hound and Tyrion don't get along. He's afraid of fire, and he did run away immediately after the Battle of the Blackwater. The Tyrion won with fire, but they also share a deep disdain for a certain kind of power and ruthlessness. They both absolutely fucking hate Joffrey. They both completely hate Cersei. I think that there is a version of this Jaime Tyrion team that the Hound, with his brutal, I don't want to call it pragmatism because Tyrion is pragmatic, but the way that he sees the world as broken, I think that he might want to be a part of this team. I think he might want to work with Tyrion here, even if it's just an alliance for now. And it just so happens that, again, I am building a team of bastards, cripples, and broken things. And this is all at Tyrion's hand. So here we go.
Yeah, I love the optics on this. Jamie's trying to make sure he doesn't have someone to outshine him in the role. It makes perfect sense to me. And yeah, you've got a guy, on a redemption arc of sorts. All right, House Stark, how will you respond? Where to next?
Okay, I'm gonna go to my Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, and I'm gonna go with Jeor Mormont. I have a very Mormont-heavy team, which is fine because they have such a good relationship with the Starks. I think from the get, the Lord Commander has seen that potential in Jon, and he knows that Jon is the best man for this job. And he is not only going to be a loyal guardian, but he is also going to be someone who imparts wisdom and a Valyrian steel sword to him, which I think can't be understated. And listen, we all want beautiful bearded reunion between Jeor and Jorah Mormont. Like, we know this. We want them together. And what better way to reunite them than under the Stark banner? So I'm going with Jeor Mormont. I really wish they had some different naming techniques throughout Westeros. But you know what? It's fine. As we say, our new house motto, it's fine.
I even love the fact that you retroactively further strengthened your Jorah pick from earlier. So
that was it. I was more worried about someone picking Jorah than Jeor.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna grab Jorah first before, because I was really worried about Dany. I was worried about Dany sneaking Jorah somewhere. So, yes, Mormont family reunion indeed. Thank you to the Starks.
Savvy drafting. It's not her first draft.
It's only my second.
Well, as we move on to House Targaryen, I'm happy to report there's no full tragedy, but I do have some troubling news for you, House Targaryen. It seems that last night, someone who must have been an incredibly skilled assassin broke their way into your hall and was able to infiltrate Aemon's bedroom. Fortunately for you, you have an incredibly loyal and detail-oriented Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, and Duncan the Tall was able to fend off the attacker without the assassination taking place. So there is someone gunning for you, but this time you've been able to avoid tragedy thanks to Sir Dunk. Congratulations.
That is awesome. He is loyal to a fault, and anybody who's crazy enough to enter Aemon Targaryen's bedroom has what's coming to them.
Mm-hmm. That being said, you've got to pick where to next.
Okay. This is getting tough. All right. I am going to make a bold move for Master of Coin/Laws. I'm going to draft Tywin Lannister. Now, he certainly knows a lot about coin because his family has historically had a lot of it. You may ask, how is he going against two of his own children? Well, one of them he hates, and the other one he's extremely disappointed in. And he would really like to get control of his house back. and he knows where power lies, and so he is going to ally himself with the most reasonable of Targaryens, Baelor, and be his master of coin.
All right. I love this pick. Um, and I think you gave us the explanation, but I know it's got to kill Tywin inside a little bit to be supporting another house. But
Yeah, but, his children have been dead to him for so long, it's really not that hard.
even Jamie, his favorite.
Again, disappointed.
No, beautiful, beautiful stuff. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of round 6. We've got 2 rounds to go. But before that round, I just want to take a quick moment to hear from a couple of our friends over the Pop Break and some other great podcasts you can hear over there.
Tired of living in the present? In need of a little nostalgia?
Ready to help Marty McFly stop Skynet by collecting the Infinity Stones?
Wait, what?
Then do we have the podcast for you. I'm Josh.
And I'm Aaron, and we're the hosts of the Anniversary Brothers podcast.
The podcast where we travel back in time to talk about the anniversaries of your favorite TV shows and movies.
Episodes drop every second Friday of the month here on the Pop Break podcast feed.
So hop in your DeLorean and join us here each month on the Anniversary Brothers podcast.
There's a destination a little up the road from the conversations and the pods you know.
Welcome to Podling, a monthly podcast tackling over 30 years of music from alternative rock pioneer Beck Hansen. You might say this podcast is
where it's at. We've got 3 podcasters and their microphones.
So join your hosts, Randy Elaine,
Justin Mancini,
and Kris Ingersoll,
for a show that poses one simple question.
I'm a podcast, baby, so why don't you stream me?
And with that, we are on to round 7 of this cutthroat Game of Thrones draft. I hope you're as entertained as we are in the midst of this draft. But we have got House Targaryen back on the board for their penultimate pick, barring further tragedy.
Hand of the King. Obviously, there is a huge hole in my team with the tragic loss of Daenerys. Her family was snatched away from her so quickly. So there are a couple of different directions I could go. But I think, as much as Targaryens like to keep it in the family, I think we need to look outside the family and try to form some alliances here. So, for my Hand of the King, I'm going to draft Robb Stark.
Wow.
He's a little bit biffed that he was, being the legitimate son of Ned, that his bastard brother / cousin, spoiler, was chosen over him as contender for the throne. And he has aspirations for power. He's a very good strategist in war and battle, which is the value he will bring. And, he's young and handsome and eligible and, just a good asset for my team, I think. We need some youth and some good battle experience, but also someone who can, ally with other houses. Obviously, his family in the north, he will have a decent relationship with. They may be a little mad that he's, flown the coop and headed south, but he wants to climb the ladder, as it were. And so we're going to create a little chaos and add Robb Stark to our team.
This is a big sell, but I do think he'll like the cut of Baelor's jib. He is a man who operates with quite a bit of honor, something that might even remind him of his own father. So love that.
That's right.
All right, moving on from House Targaryen to House Stark.
Okay, it's down to 2 options, but honestly, I like my option here for my aid from Essos. I'm gonna go with the Triarchy, get a little bit of sea power here. Also some great naming there with the crab eaters. Like, love a good crab. So I think that they're gonna bring another layer to my team that we don't necessarily have in the north, other than Bear Island, but some uh some sea advantage as well as some chaos. So they're not quite in my moral standing as much as the other members of my team, but I think that they will get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you need a blockade, who else do you call? It's the Triarchy. So yeah, beautiful pick. And that's going to bring us back to House Lannister.
This is good news for me because there were only two other options in the A for Mesos category, and the Triarchy would never ally with House Valerian, sadly. So I can just leave this until the end. I no longer have to stress about which camp to get aid from, which means that I have to choose my Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. I do have a challenge here, again, because so many of the strongest fighters, who I won't name in case you didn't notice them, would never serve under Jaime because he is a Kingslayer. Which means, again, I have to reach a little bit deeper into the realm of a character that I thankfully had added to the draft right at the end, and that is Podrick Payne. Podrick Payne at the very end of the television show. Podrick Payne is a secret sleeper, powerful character. Although I will never reference the book again other than this, because this is not a book draft. There are many scenes in which he, in the book, just out of sight, winds up somehow beating a significantly stronger foe. And on the show, by the end of it, he is in the Kingsguard under Brienne. He is a very powerful knight. And of course, he is extremely loyal to Tyrion. This makes narrative sense. And I think he's a strong choice. So Podrick Payne will be my Lord Commander of the Kingsguard.
Podrick's a great pick. He's a swordsman on the field and in the bedroom. How do you not add him to the team?
Absolute perfection. Yeah. Shout out Pod. All right, we are back to House Baratheon.
Yeah, so before we get into my pick, I am going to activate a power, and that is the Storm of Rebellion. I think there's kind of a threefold reason for this. First of all, Sansa offended at her brother Robb betraying both her and House Stark. I think my house as a whole being offended at the Lannisters, and focusing that in on the actual head of the Lannister house, Tywin, and just a broader disdain for the dragons as a whole. I'm going to launch a rebellion against the Unsullied, as a Baratheon, as those rebel boys. We're gonna do that before I make my pick. So we'll see how that plays out, and then I will make my pick.
Yeah, these Baratheons do not take offense sitting down, and they're not going to wait for this whole battle to play out nicely. And they have, yes, opened up an open rebellion against the Targaryens. And in this battle, they have fully defeated and wiped out the Unsullied with the power of the forces of the Stormland. Uh, I'm sorry to report that House Targaryen no longer possesses any aid from Essos. They are now without that. And what's worse, this was one of the hidden conditions of the game. And that means that you are suffering, House Targaryen, a permanent -3 to your final score when we do the final game math. So this was a worst case scenario moment for you. And I can't imagine you're going to take too kindly to House Baratheon for that. Although maybe some of your other enemies are loving this right now. Who is to say?
Look, sometimes you got to save the power plays for late in the game, and I hope that was a good one. I feel like it was negate some of those dragon bonuses, uh, to metagame a little bit, but also, oh, the only good dragon is a dead dragon, and if I don't have something that can kill a dragon, might as well kill their support, right? Uh, and so now, my decision was made a little bit easier by the taking of Podrick. I'm going to take a Lord Commander of the Guard. Um, One who is maybe slightly less of a party boy, but nonetheless very much fitting in my scrappy, lovable misfits. I'm going to take Beric Dondarrion. as my Lord Commander of the Guard. Is he the best fighter? No, but the man inspires loyalty. And the Kingsguard is not just one person. It's not just one man. The Kingsguard is the seven, right? Or however many there are. And you need someone who is able to hold a band together well, a band of misfits, as Beric has shown. But I think coming from a noble house, obviously, right, the version of Beric that we get by the end is maybe a little bit less of a noble than he was in season 1 when he was dispatched by Ned to go deal with the mountain. But nonetheless, he remains a very inspiring figure among both the small folk and the large folk. The noble folk. Um, and I feel like he is someone who very much fits in my wheelhouse here with the Baratheon party boys. So let's get it done.
Yeah, definitely got a vibe here. No one who's putting on so many airs that they will outshine the Riz Master, the Lapping Storm. So
You see the vision. You see
I
the
see the
vision.
vision. I see the game plan. Absolutely. Which brings us to House Martell.
Okay, this game is getting down to the last of it, and eventually it's going to come to the fisticuffs, whether we like it or not. And I need a house champion. And I'd be lying if I said that my last pick was not strategic in setting up this pick. I secured Mance Raider as my Master of Laws and Coin so that I could much more easily convince Tormund Giantsbane to fight as champion of this house. Phenomenal fighter. Suckled at the teat of a giant. Giant's Babe, Giant's Bane, whichever you prefer. He's my guy. Big red beard. Everett, you get it. Yours is very red.
Brother, love Tormund.
Yeah, man.
Fantastic character.
My guy.
Yeah.
By inspiration.
Yeah, it's hard not to pick a guy who's also just a damn great time to be around.
Such a happy fella. So happy to hang out with him. Really, I think he and Oberyn are going to get along great.
Different vibes, but yeah, I think that they will teach each other. They'll offer windows into this wider continent that they call home. Love this. All right, that brings us to House Tyrell, your penultimate pick, and then you'll be picking on the turn shortly thereafter.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
Before this pick can come through, you were gathering your forces to prepare for this pick. But unfortunately, we've had yet another highly skilled assassin break through the ranks and find its way. And this time they went straight for the top. They went straight to Rhaenys, your contender for the throne. She has been murdered by an assassin who must have been very highly trained, must be accessing some kind of powerful magic beyond their personal skills, because somehow they slipped past everyone. No one saw a single face they didn't recognize.
Well then.
So this is a painful moment. I do want to remind you, unfortunately, Meleys is off to the hills, no longer interested in the battles of men. If you need to reshuffle your team at all, you are allowed to reshuffle at this point.
They just don't want to see these old Targaryen ladies on the throne, Josh. Rhaenys, Rhaenyra.
Typical Westeros bullshit.
Typical Westeros.
Yeah.
My vision was just destroyed, and I'm not sure if I can recover. You know what? I am going to recover. All right. So I unfortunately no longer have my contender for the throne. I need someone to avenge her mother. She will not take this offense lightly. Give me Laena Velaryon. She will not stand this. And there will be blood. This is for my contender for the throne. The daughter will rise up and avenge her mother.
I think that's the pick. I absolutely love that. We had a message in our comments, rest in peace, Team Girl Power, but they are riding strong again. Sadly, without the services of Vhagar, since Aemond One Eye has laid claim to that particular dragon already.
Yeah, which I was hoping we could double dip, but I didn't think we could. So, all right, so that is my pick there.
I will say, if Lena had gone first, then Aemond would have been out of luck.
No, but okay, so that is my pick there, and then I still need to pick a Lord Commander and a champion. So, you know what? Let's stick with it. We're gonna go Team Girl Boss and Lord Commander. Let's go Yara Greyjoy, because who loves the ladies like Yara? No one. She would happily join this group.
What a phenomenal pick. I wasn't sure if we'd get to see her go off the board, and I am absolutely thrilled that we did. I can't imagine I'm alone in that feeling. Okay, folks, we are down to the final round of the draft, and then we will commence right away with our battle for the throne. House Tyrell, where will you put your final pick?
There's no sudden deaths or mysterious assassinations I have to deal with.
You're in the clear for the moment, my friends.
Thank the old gods of the new. Okay, so I need to complete my team, and as you all may have noticed, I've got a bit of a theme going, and I'm gonna have to stick with my theme. So there's not too many ladies I can go for my champion, but there is one left, and I do think I need to have. I'm basically creating the Westerosi Avengers, but all women. And you know what? We've got them from all areas of the realm. Let's go beyond the wall. Let's get Ygritte. I want her on my team as well. I feel like she would be a powerful ally. And again, we have a lot of different areas of Westeros represented, and I think that strengthens the bond as they do what's best for the realm, including the free folk.
I mean, I respect the hustle. What's going to compel Ygritte to make this long trek south?
Yeah. I mean, I think she's going to see that the patriarchy of Westeros has broken, both in the north and below the wall. And she is seeing that this group of women is trying to fight for a new future where the women of Westeros get to create fairness and equality among the people. And that is something that the free folk desperately, desperately want and need. And she would fight to the death for that.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and I'm just gonna say I ship Yara and Ygritte really
Oh, yeah.
hard. I can see this happening for sure. All right. Moving on to House Martell. Final pick.
Yeah, this is the easiest pick of the draft for me. This is a character that I didn't fear disappearing before this very last pick, so I've saved my Master of Whispers for the only true member of my family. Give me Ilaria Sand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this pick requires a lot of explanation. Alaria and Oberyn, they belong together, and you can have the Sand Snakes too, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
They're
Is
not
that
quite
official?
they're not quite the Unsullied, but
I'm thrilled. Is
you
that an official
gotta
game mechanic? Do I actually get them?
you
Oh, because they're
do.
members of the family unspoken on the board.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
So
thank you.
by default, yes.
As a girl dad, it's important to Oberyn to have his three girls, so thank you.
All right, folks. Several of you, before we move on to House Baratheon, have had your Masters of Whispers reaching out across the sea. You see, there is a great Khal Drogo, and he believes he is the stallion who will mount the world, and he has been looking to make his way across the sea, to find his queen across the sea. And many of you have been working behind the scenes to try to lock down these forces. But the Khal has finally reached out and made an allegiance with House Baratheon. Uh, After House Baratheon successfully acquired the Iron Fleet to bring those Dothraki soldiers over, they were able to offer the hand of one Sansa Stark. And while the Khal was concerned that Sansa was not a ruler, not at the top of the food chain, looking for someone to rule side by side with, um, his other offers had the same flaw. But he heard about this great legacy of this House Stark, these Northerners that have a sense of pride. And as part of the negotiation, if they can put Lionel Baratheon on the Iron Throne, the Khal demands that Sansa Stark rule the North independently. Those conditions were accepted, and House Baratheon has earned a +3 Dothraki bonus in the final calculation.
Yeah, so I've been doing the Birdman hand rub for those of you on audio only over on video because I knew this ahead of time. But very, very excited to have the Cal. And I went into this, I was talking to my wife yesterday kind of about what my strategy was going to be. And I was like, there's a very legitimate chance that I make some kind of deal that leaves me in control of the southern portion of Westeros and a Stark on the throne in the north. And this fit that very proposition because I am of the opinion that I don't think that the Seven Kingdoms are meant to necessarily be ruled as one, especially the North. The North is huge. The North is vast, and the North is hardy, and they are people very independent. And so, putting Sansa on the throne with the Khal up there, definitely, I think is a play that I'm about. Plus, I still have Sansa as my master of laws and coin, making the political moves there for me, and it would make sense that she would try to do a little bit of some backroom dealings. But I appreciate her a lot. So I've only got to pick my hand of the king. And my 3 of my top 4 picks have been on the board this whole time. 2 of them because I don't think any other house was going to take them. But the one I'm actually going to take is not from those 2 guys. I am going to take someone who is maybe a little bit more sober-minded, someone who we have seen put reason to maybe not despair, but reason to irrationality in some points in House of the Dragon. I am going to take Simon Strong of Harrenhal. The dude knows a lot more than he lets on, and he lets you know that he knows it in such just matter-of-fact ways. And I think among this group of just like party guys, game players, big personalities, you need someone who's willing to tell you, hey, get your shit together, lock in, we got a game to play, right? Like you need this no nonsense kind of head coach there. R.I.P. the fireman. But Simon Strong is that dude. He was that dude to Daemon. And I think he will be that dude to my High Council.
Yeah, and every interaction between Simon and Lionel will be my favorite episode from the show that week, for sure. I can only imagine those 2.
2 fantastic characters that would make for great television. And it's a shame that they exist in different eras.
Beautiful. All right, moving on to House Lannister. You don't have much of a pick to make, but perhaps you have some logic you want to drop on us.
No, I think that as soon as I missed out on the Iron Bank, the Unsullied, and the Golden Company, it was kind of done for me. The Triarchy was not available, as I said. They would just never work with Corlys. And unfortunately, I do think that the Stormcrows are the weakest of the Aid from Essos options. That said, I do have Aid from Essos, unlike House Targaryen. Keep that in mind.
Fair enough.
You're
Great
welcome.
pick. House Stark, let's finish up your draft board.
Okay. I left my Grand Maester Mystic Advisor till the end because I felt like it was such an easy choice, and I also felt like no one else would go for this person. I'm gonna go with Samwell Tarly. Even though he doesn't technically have any like mystical powers, he has some of the most important traits in courage when you really need it, and kindness. And as a book nerd myself and an educator, the fact that he has such a great brain and is willing to use it that sets him apart from even the best warg or red
Mhm.
priestess or whomever you are going with. I think that he, in addition to all that, his bond with Jon is obviously insane. They are brothers through and through, and he is gonna have John's back, even if he's, trying to escape the watch or making uh going back to fight for his family. Sam's gonna be there. Um, and he's intelligent, and I think he is the perfect pick to round out my team.
All right. I absolutely love this. Samwell Tarly. I was going to be sad if he didn't go. He's my guy. Love a Samwell. Love this pick. All right, House Targaryen. Your board sadly is going to be left incomplete, but you do have all those dragons, and you got one more pick to go. So what's it going to be?
I do have one more pick, although there is only one option left in this category. So for my strongest ally, I have no other option than to go with House Frey. Their house is in a very good strategic location between the north and the south. They're kind of the gatekeepers of Westeros. They also love to ally themselves with whoever they perceive to be in the most powerful position. So I guess it kind of makes sense that they would go for, the current ruler of Westeros with the most dragon power. So House Frey, welcome to the team.
All right. Beautiful stuff. Folks, that brings us to the end of the drafting round. I did fail to make one final announcement. Uh, and House Targaryen, you are constantly dealing with shenanigans over there. But you made one of the most powerful picks in the draft, which was Sir Duncan the Tall. He is so devoted to his king. He is so devoted to his cause, so good at his job, that he's seen what's happening, and he has been very protective of the royal family. And he was able to thwart a poisoning attempt. Someone went after Aemond again. Uh, but, Dunk was on top of it. The man knows how to do his job. He spent all those years serving Sir Arlen, and he knows a thing or two about being careful about where that next meal comes from. Um, Before we go into our voting and we get to the final contest for the throne, I have to announce the one hidden bonus condition. And this was whichever house managed to acquire the most members of the Night's Watch and or wildlings was going to acquire those forces to bolster their claim to their throne and this house's ability to protect Westeros moving into the future. And perhaps it's fitting that House Stark came through uh, to win that battle in the end. Congratulations to House Stark. You've earned a
Thank you.
permanent
Thank you.
+3 bonus.
The dwindling forces of the Night's Watch. What are we down to? 3 castles?
All right, folks. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to cease any and all private discourse amongst yourselves. You're going to each privately message me your ranking of what you think the most powerful houses are. Where do you believe that power truly lies in the realm? Good luck. All right, folks, we are back. Our draft is done, and all of our contenders for the throne have asked themselves the very important question, where does the power reside? Because power resides where men believe that it resides. And we have our results. So the way this is going to work, I am going to reveal the top 2 houses in alphabetical order of what their scores were. No one's going to know these scores but me. And then I'm going to reveal in alphabetical order the 4 lowest scoring teams. All right. No one's going to know these scores but me. Um, the teams that are at the top have a chance to win this whole thing. They have a chance to come in first place. If they've successfully positioned themselves, they've managed to put themselves in position to win over some allies and avoid being taken down by their bitter rivals that they've acquired over the course of this game. In some cases, we know where we've been wronged. In other cases, we might have a pretty good idea, but we may not be sure. There have been all sorts of backroom dealings that are essential to, I'm sure, where we've found ourselves here today. But I am prepared to announce that our top two teams in alphabetical order are Team Baratheon and Team Martell. Our bottom four teams in alphabetical order are Team Lannister, Stark, Targaryen, and Tyrell. So, before I hear anything more from those bottom four houses, Lannister, Stark, Targaryen, and Tyrell, I'm going to give our two leading houses a chance to make a plea to the remaining houses. And once that's done, those remaining houses will have the option to either bend the knee to one of these rulers, thus strengthening their forces, or they can choose to dig in and go into a war of principle against one of these two houses. I am going to hear from the two finalists first. The four folks in last place, you are allowed to respond to direct questions if any offers are made, but you're not going to make your final decision until you send it to me privately following the statements from our two leaders. House Baratheon, why should these four houses consider joining your claim to the throne?
I am offering stability in a world where there's not been a lot of that. Yes, we are the party boys, as I unofficially coined my team. But here's the deal. We have a very charismatic leader, which is necessary to actually govern the realms, because if the people do not like their ruler, everything goes to chaos, right? Like the houses are going to rebel, right? All of these things are happening. He's got behind him the backing of the Dothraki military, the finances of the Iron Bank, which he will be able to repay by running the whole realms, but kind of letting everyone operate as they will. He's got, I would argue, the best master of whispers in the game, Varys the Spider. And I've got a guiding hand in the form of my hand in Simon Strong, someone who's plugged into everything that's going on in the kingdom, it seems. And also, to top it all off, I'm not even worrying about the North, because Sansa is going to run the North, probably the most capable of the Starks in terms of maintaining alliances, balancing power between various sundry shufflings, and she is backed by the military might of the Dothraki. Yes, we don't love the Dothraki and their ways in Westeros, but no one can doubt their military prowess. And I think with Sansa there, Sansa is a very, very firm, at this point in her career, a very firm hand to balance what could be an overpowering force in Khal Drogo. I think she is going to provide that balance that is going to force him to listen and bring his forces to bear in ways that are going to benefit the entirety of the realm. And he's not going to be allowed to overrun everything. Not to mention, I have the Greyjoys on my side. And so if I can keep the Greyjoys in hand and they're supporting me, they're not rebelling and attacking everybody else, because they've got the official support of the kingdom. You don't have to worry about the Greyjoys launching raids, because I'm funding them with the Iron Bank. Back and forth. They get some cut off the top because they're ferrying the funds. I think Lionel is the king of the kings. Mad respect to Oberyn. But like you said at the beginning, he didn't really want to rule anyway. So there's an argument to be made that House Martell doesn't even want to win this. And I think House Baratheon does. So I'll leave it at that.
Perfection. I absolutely love it. All right, House Martell, why should these remaining teams consider joining your claim to the throne?
House Baratheon makes an excellent point. House Martell was not interested in fighting for this throne. This has been thrust upon them in this kingdom's hour of need, and they're willing to rise to the occasion. They see their opportunity to unite these disparate elements from across the realms and bring real, lasting change to a kingdom that desperately needs it. So you're right, Oberyn would rather not be doing this, but he is satisfied his bloodlust at this point. This Oberyn has taken his shot, survived, and chosen to move forward. And so he's ready to do what needs to be done for the sake of the kingdom. He's a brilliant, calculating, and dangerously charismatic leader for my team. You talk about a person that the people will want to follow, a person who represents a change in the status quo, and somebody who can connect all of these disparate elements. He boasts these deep connections to Essos and the Second Sons, making him a wonderful candidate to rally the realm. Then I have Alicent Hightower as my hand. Such an important element to this change of the old ways. But she also did study under those old ways. She was raised by a hand of the king. She knows how to manage a kingdom's bureaucracy, how to maintain the legitimate claim to the crown. And I think that she can balance maybe Oberyn's more fiery tendencies when they come about. Key to our strategy in uniting this realm is our master of laws and coin, Mansur. Because of that connection, Oberyn would like to offer the opportunity for House Stark to swear fealty to House Martell. You will not need to bend the knee. Maintain your proud realm in the north. And please add your wildling forces to my force. Should you accept, I hope you'll honor your word, House Stark. I give you this opportunity.
And as the game runner here, this is the House Martell special ability. If a team swears fealty to House Martell, and House Martell goes on to win, this team will share in the first place finish because they attach themselves to the winning house and shared this independent victory. So, House Stark, as you weigh your option, you have an option. You can either verbally agree or disagree right now, or you can wait to send that answer to me privately. Do you have anything you want to say about it now or any questions you have for House Martell?
No.
No questions, or no, you refuse the offer?
No questions.
Fair.
No questions. Beautiful.
And this was difficult because honestly, there's a lot about House Lannister that House Martell really admires. Tyrion is somebody that Oberyn wouldn't just love to share a drink with, but would love to talk shop with, to talk culture, to talk about the realm and their big ideas for it. Ultimately, there's too much in House Lannister that I'm afraid won't unite the greater realm. That Lannister name it's a heavy one, and it's not a favorable one, unfortunately. But turning back to the merits of my own team, we don't just have the small council know-how with Oberyn and with Alicent, but we've got fantastic military might also. Daemon Targaryen, as my Lord Commander of the King's Guard, did he unite the Riverlands for his wife Queen? He sure did. After his time with Alice Rivers, he brings a dragon, and he brings an incredible amount of military experience. Not only is he an individually strong fighter, but he's an excellent strategist and somebody who understands what war looks like in reality. This ain't no summer night. Tormund Giantsbane isn't going to get touched. Sorry, we have the Vale. And unlike House Baratheon, we won't owe anybody anything on the other side of this conflict. We won't be entrenched in tons of debt to the Iron Bank. And we won't be waiting for the Dothrakis to ultimately make their move to take power, because we ultimately know that Stallion expects to mount the world.
All right. We've heard from both houses. Before I ask our four remaining houses to weigh their final options, neither of these major houses offered a betrothal. Would any of these four remaining houses like to offer the promise of a betrothal to be weighed by either House Baratheon or House Martell? Please speak up if you are interested. And if not, we'll wait and see how things play out on the battlefield.
Yeah, I think the only person whose hand I have to offer is Cersei Lannister. So if someone wants to marry her, let's talk.
Look, there is a history of Cersei Lannister marrying Baratheons. And I think there's very much a world where Lionel sees the benefits in marrying a Lannister in paying off the debt to the Iron Bank, but also I think he doesn't make the same mistakes that his descendant makes in doubting Cersei's capability. I think Lionel's a little bit more with it, so I would willingly accept that if unless House Martell has something better to offer, even though he's got his contender for the throne's lover also on the High Council, and we know how Cersei feels about that.
No, I'm happy to let the Baratheons add Cersei to their team, making them more likable to the realm.
What could possibly go wrong? All right, that brings us to the end of this portion of the negotiation. At this time, I'm going to ask our 4 remaining houses to send me a message. If House Lannister accepts the betrothal, you will say that you are bending the knee and accepting the betrothal. If the other houses would like to bend the knee to one particular house to join their cause for the throne, they may do so. House Stark specifically has the option to swear fealty to House Martell, or you can dig in on principle and just try to hinder one of your enemies in your closing moment. So please privately send me your decisions, and then I will fast forward this for you folks at home. All right, folks, we're here with the final results, but first we have to hear from our final 4 great houses. I'd both like to hear your decision, and I'd love to hear one more time about how your team is going to fulfill their end of the bargain. So first, House Targaryen, what have you decided to do in this pivotal moment?
Well, considering that I am on the defense, as it is currently my throne to defend, I am digging in and going to war against both House Baratheon and House Martell, because how dare they? We are going down with fire and blood, baby.
Yeah, both of these houses are getting an equitable share of dragon fire and Targaryen forces breathing down their necks. It's not going to be pretty, but let's see if either house can get the reinforcements they need to still secure the realm, because House Targaryen has decided to go down fighting.
It's the Targ thing to do. Wouldn't
It's the
respect
Targ
anything
thing
else.
to do.
I'll allow it.
Dragons do not bend knees.
Yeah.
Next up, I would like to turn to House Stark, who was offered a chance to swear fealty to House Martell, and in the event of a Martell victory, House Stark would also win. House Stark, what have you decided?
I decided to swear fealty to House Martell. There were a couple factors in this decision. First of all, the mention of the Wildling connection, both with Mance and with Torment. What a gem. Also, my one thing that I really didn't pay attention to in my draft was my my closest allies, which are the Hightowers, and you have Alicent on that team. And then something I thought was lacking in your persuasive speech was the fact that you have dragons. So that listen, House Targaryen's got the advantage because they've got dragons. I want to side with the side that also has dragons as well. And I also like the idea that we get to keep the North if that's the case. Because let's be honest, no one from the Starks really wants to rule the whole 7 kingdoms. We just want the North. We just want our space and our own autonomy in our decisions. And House Martell is offering that to us. So we are going to swear fealty to House Martell and then hang out in the North, and everyone can leave us alone.
Next up, let's hear about House Lannister. You've had a chance to consider the fact that House Baratheon accepted your open proposal of marriage to Cersei Lannister.
I think that Tyrion Lannister especially is an extremely pragmatic person. He would never dig in, so that was not even an option from the beginning here. He would survive, and his whole team would aim to survive. Given that there was a betrothal accepted by House Baratheon, even if it is to Tyrion's least favorite family member, or, I mean, I guess there's competition with Tywin as well, one of his least favorite family members. I think what this means is that I need to House Lannister needs to bend the knee to House Baratheon and have Cersei Lannister marry Lionel Baratheon, who maybe can do a better job than his great, who knows, grandson.
Possibly nephew, but yeah.
Well,
Possibly nephew.
We don't even know.
I think you put together two very powerful teams, and I think that this match makes quite a bit of sense.
I would maybe add, I think that what these two teams do bring to the table together is it's a huge number of kind of outsiders in different ways. Lionel Baratheon is like an outsider among the nobles in many ways. Varys the Spider is the perfect master of whispers and very much an outsider in a whole range of ways. Thoros, Beric are very atypical characters. Euron, I think that these outsiders thematically fit together in some way.
Beautiful.
And I think they strategize well together. I think that this is a team that plays well together once you get it into the place. And yeah, Tyrion and Lionel would indeed love to party together, as Abby has commented. Would be fantastic.
All right. All right. We got one more house to hear from. We have House Stark pledged to House Martell. We have House Lannister pledged to House Baratheon. We have dragons tearing up the countryside. But Team Tyrell, what will you do?
Team Tyrell was very conflicted about this because on one side, we have a beloved daughter and sister in Sansa Stark over there representing House Baratheon. And yet at the same time, House Martell has made a very smart strategic alliance with House Stark. And knowing that we have Catelyn and Arya on House Tyrell's team, they are, again, very conflicted. Ultimately, they were swayed by the understanding that House Martell is one of the most progressive realms within the kingdom, and that there is a strong female presence within the power structure of House Martell. And so Lady Olenna and her crew decided that if they really were committed to the type of change they want to see in Westeros, even though it pains them to go against Sansa, they had to go and bend the knee to House Martell.
So with that dual pledge of allegiance to House Martell, with dragons split between the Baratheon and the Martell forces, it is my honor to announce that the new rulers of the realm will in fact be House Martell. And sharing first place, House Stark that swore fealty to House Martell. We have an independent nation to the south, an independent nation to the north. House Martell, I have two questions for you. I know Oberyn is not known for committing to one single relationship, but I'm curious if you would like to name a partner to share the throne with. And similarly, will he be sitting upon the Iron Throne, or will there be someone, holding that seat under his direction?
No, for now, he's going to step up and he's going to live out his commitments. The people backed his claim, and he's going to honor that. He has a wonderful group of experienced folks underneath him, especially Alicent. And so while he may rely on his hand quite heavily to help really guide his actions from that seat, he will be the one on the throne. And ultimately, because of his commitment to change, to breaking the traditions, he does not feel the need to go out and seek a partner for the throne. He has Ilaria there within his small council. That is his paramour. And while they may be open in their love, there's also a deep affection and a commitment between the two of them. So no, Oberyn does not feel the need to shore up his claim by any means by bringing in a wife and creating a line of succession. That's not the way this kingdom is going to operate any longer.
All right, beautiful. Well, I think we have some wise new rulers. House Martell and House Stark share first place. Having backed the right side in the final battle, House Tyrell makes their way to second place. House Baratheon, having fallen in the final battle for the throne, falls to third place. House Lannister comes in fourth place, having in good faith made a betrothal to another powerful house that just did not quite lead to the ultimate victory in the end. And the Targaryens come in fifth place, but not before absolutely decimating the countryside and leaving their mark on the history books, as they do. At this time, I would like to thank all of my contestants for staying up very late with me. I hope you'll all speak to me again. I hope this is not now the last podcast we will ever do together because I kept you up so late. The time and effort you put into planning this is incredible. You all told remarkable stories, and I think we really celebrated the series. I am so pumped for House of the Dragon Season 3. Thank you again. Before we go, I just wanted to give everyone a quick chance to shout out any places you'd like folks to find you or your work on the internet. Let's go to some of our newbies first. Anna, anywhere you'd like folks to look up you or your podcast?
Sure. You can find me anywhere you listen to pods, Stone's Top Tens. I rank each season as a different genre of movie for now. Right now, I'm doing classic lit turned film, which has been a crazy adventure. You can also follow me on Instagram at Stone's Top Tens. So if you want to hear me not make further decisions, check it out.
Thank you so much, Anna. Definitely check her out. She also often has great guests on that show alongside her. Everett, thank you for a great draft. I really loved your case for House Baratheon. I thought you were going to pull it out there at the end, but this Game of Thrones can be unforgiving. You nailed it, though. I hope you had fun, and where can folks find you out there in the world?
Oh man, it was so much fun. I did not expect to be in the top two, but that was a ton of fun. So love this whole experience. I am, as you mentioned at the beginning, on Instagram at Watch This Film Blog. You can follow me there. It was a blog, but I had a baby last year, and my ability and wavelength and willingness to write full blog posts about multiple, sometimes 7, 8 films a week has gone down. And so I'm doing some quick blurbs on there, continuing the countdown. I'm counting down the 1,000 greatest films of all time based on a formula that I came up with back in college and kind of have tweaked since then. It's a lot of fun. You can follow it there. If you want to hear my voice, I have an episode of Bad Movies We Love with Nick Scheist that is on the film Rubber that dropped at the beginning of this year. I should have another one coming out here in the next month or so covering last year's film. Oh, shoot. I forgot what it's called. The Valentine's Day movie that was really bad. Love Hurts.
Wuthering. I thought it was Wuthering Heights because that was really bad too.
I wish it was. But
not every
Love
movie
Hurts
can be as good as the Killer Tire movie, right?
The Killer Tire movie is fantastic, and you should listen to that episode because we do a really good job defending it. Love Hurts less so, I would say. And then I've got an episode of Horror Hour with the Hannahs dropping right around the same time as this episode. It might already be out by the time this drops. It might come out a little bit after. But we are doing a Mount Rushmore of alien movies. So if you want to hear me, check those things out. Obviously, hit me up if you want me to join you for anything because I've got a baby, but I do have time to talk. So
beautiful. Yeah, it was such a pleasure to have you, Everett. Thanks once
Been
again.
such a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I listened to a lot of y'all's draft stuff to kind of prep for this episode, and so
Yeah.
really enjoy what you guys are putting out. It's great.
Thanks so much, man. That means a lot. John Aspler, no one preps for anything quite like you, and I think you nailed it once again. Um, I hope you had fun, and where can folks find you out there in the world?
So you can either find me on most social media at Lost Cadence, and I have a blog called Serially Engaged, a blog about television. Like Everett, I too had a child last year, and so similarly, my blog is empty except for posts of episodes of Media Lit in which I have featured. That said, I did cover House of the Dragon season 1 and ahead of season 3 if you're looking to go back and read some stuff, especially comparisons to the book, reflections on how a TV adaptation of a history text that leaves a lot to primary sources in the imagination does or doesn't do a great job of pushing that onto the screen. It's all there for you for season 1. So serially engaged.
Perfect. Thanks so much, John. Abby Greiner, thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you so much for bringing your Game of Thrones knowledge, for bringing your ultimate love for the Targaryens, for bringing the cat's paw dagger itself sitting in the background of your screen. This would not have been the same experience without you. I am sorry your Targs faced so much tragedy, and could have been more if not for Sir Dunk. But I hope you had fun. And is there anywhere you'd like folks to find you on the internet?
Uh, Thank you so much, Randy. This was a blast. Speaking of Sir Dunk, he's out of a job. So if one of the other houses could please house and employ him, we would appreciate it. He's very loyal. Um, my life is very offline and my social media is all private, so I don't really have anything to promote, but this was a blast. And Randy, I thank you for your going above and beyond to make a fun experience for us. The twists were shocking and surprising and heartbreaking at times, but that's the Game of Thrones. So this was just perfect. And it was great to meet all of the rest of you too. It was really, really fun.
Thank you so much, Abby. I appreciate it. Josh Sarnecky, man of many pods. I hope you had a blast tonight. You had an incredible draft. Where can folks find you?
Yes, so if you want to hear more from me, they can find me over at the Anniversary Brothers podcast, Anime Pop, and TV Break, all part of the Pop Break network of podcasts. Check those out. Very proud of the work we do there, and happy to say that both Randy and Kris have been frequent guests on several of those podcasts. And just have to, again, thank you both for having me. This was a complete and total blast. I'm so glad got to take part in this. Randy, I am always incredibly impressed and amazed by your ability to come up with these very intricate plans and to somehow land the plane no matter what. And Kris, I think it's official. You are a draft expert. I mean, you killed it over at the Pokemon draft over Anime Pop. You killed it here. Again, both of you have shown a very good skill set and intimidated by whatever next draft I have to take part with both of you.
Perfect. Well, always an honor to have you over here. Thank you so much. And Kris, bring us home. Where can folks find you? Heck, where can folks find me on the internet?
Right. I just noticed Josh's sweet Batman blanket in the background. I'm a little bit distracted. Great blanket, buddy. But before all that, thank you all. I'm like totally in awe of my co-host Randy and his ability to put this kind of a thing together and to keep it organized. But honestly, all of his efforts, like all of that wonderful brain juice is like wasted if we don't have wonderful folks like you who are willing to rise to the occasion to join us for such an incredible endeavor. You were asked to like do homework ahead of time for this in order to be prepped. This was a pretty labor-intensive endeavor, so thank you for coming along with us. This could not have gone better, not just because I won, but because it was so much fun. No, really, the show knowledge you all brought, the passion for this world of story was tremendous. Can't wait to have you all back on Media Lit again. Not all together, maybe, but like individually, and in the future, maybe a big draft. For
a simpler draft, perhaps.
I mean, perhaps, right? No promises. Perhaps. For the folks listening, if you did enjoy this, you want to hear more Media Lit, please, first and foremost, like and subscribe. Follow the pod. Look for us anywhere you get your podcasts. We're even on YouTube now. For more of me, I'm also the co-host of Batman by the Numbers on thepopbreak.com. This is a once-a-month podcast going deep on all things Dark Knight. This year, we're going through our eras one by one. So we just dropped an episode on Schumacher, and we're heading into the comic books after this for just a little bit. Going to dip into Absolute Batman before heading back out for the Nolan era. So listen for Batman by the Numbers once a month on thepopbreak.com. But I'm also the co-host of Podling. This is a Beck Hansen dedication podcast. Randy is my co-host there, along with Justin Mancini from the Pop Break. These two have been doing music podcasts together for several seasons. They were kind enough to invite me in as their third chair in order to talk about Randy's very favorite artist, Beck, and we are working through his full discography. Again, dropping once a month on thepopbreak.com.
Whew. Way
Last
to
but
go,
not-
man.
Thanks,
Oh,
buddy.
You're going to keep going. I love it. You're so good.
I'll let you do the last one for us. I'll jump into me. Aside from all those things, I'm also a father and a husband. I'm an actor and a voice actor. You can find me doing those things on Instagram or Blue Sky at Kris_Ingersoll. And that's Kris spelled like Kringle.
Perfect. And while you're tuning into Media Lit, be on the lookout for our remedial rewatch, Community 101. It's a rewatch of Community, folks, one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time. But yeah, while you're at the Pop Break checking out Podling, please also check out my entertainment writing. And most importantly, I'm about to do episode by episode coverage of House of the Dragon Season 3. So follow me there on the Pop Break. And wherever you find Media Lit, you'll find me. Feel free to give me a follow, but follow the pod first. Folks, it's been a long one. It's been dramatic, and I hope you had a blast. We'll see you next time.